Welcome to the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and today we are diving into the Simagic Neo X Hub. This versatile hub lets you take just about any 70mm steering wheel, bolt it on, and create a complete sim racing setup. Not only does it work wirelessly with any Simagic base, but with the Maglink adapter you can use it on any direct drive wheelbase as long as it has an NRG style quick release. So starting at $199, you can grab the hub on its own or opt for a full kit with shifters in the wheel. Plus, the Maglink adapter, that's just 20 bucks. Let's break it down and see exactly what you get for your money. As I mentioned, the Neo X Hub can be purchased on its own or standalone, and that gets you the button box itself along with the quick release adapter. The hub measures roughly 7 inches wide by 6 inches tall and features a carbon fiber composite casing with a forged carbon aesthetic. Now on the front of this hub, you're going to find those 8 white backlit buttons that you can control the color in the SimPro Manager software. And the kit also includes stickers that are kind of transparent, so when you cover those white backlit buttons, they'll actually see through the stickers, which is a great effect, and you can see I've already added some stickers to my hub here. Alongside the button, you have the 2 rotary encoders that are also backlit in controllable colors, as well as the 2 mini joysticks that can handle up, down, left, right, twist left, twist right, and push in function as well. At the top, we have this 9-digit rev strip, which is also controllable in color through the software. And then under this, we had those stickered, covered M6 threaded holes for mounting our steering wheel in that standard 6x70mm bolt pattern. Moving on to the sides, we have these vertically mounted rotary encoders with these red aluminum covers, adding even more input options. On the back side, you'll notice that carbon fiber looking casing continues, and then we have that very prominent red all-metal 10-bearing NRG style quick release. Discreetly hidden inside are the connection pins for the wireless connectivity. There are also 2 plastic covers that can be removed to attach paddle shifters, as well as a USB-C port, which is for firmware updating of the wheel. This is not for driving with, this is just for doing firmware updates. And then this entire back casing comes off because that's where the Maglink adapter would go on. As I mentioned earlier, the Neo X Hub comes standalone that allows you to completely customize it to the way you want. So selecting the right wheel will be part of the process. Also selecting what shifters you're going to use, and you can see right here I have the dual paddle shifters. That combination will set you back $55, or you can go with just a basic single pair of magnetic shifters for $40. In both cases, it features the same aluminum bodies for the shifters and the shifter arm, and magnetic releases on the top, and then levers with spring tension on the bottom. To make customization even more exciting, Simagic includes a variety of paddle shapes, sizes, and materials, so you can fine-tune the setup to your preference. While exploring Simagic's website, I also noticed that they have some future options coming, like triple paddle shifters and even the push-pull style paddle shifters, a promising sign for even more versatility down the road. The final piece of the puzzle that you're going to need before we hit the track is the steering wheel itself. Simagic has a variety of wheels to choose from that'll work great with the Neo. They have them in round, flat bottom, or formula style, covered in a variety of different materials. All of them are about $49, or if you're looking for something a little more on the high end, the 6x70mm pattern is going to work great for just about any Momo, OMP, or even a Sparco wheel, MPI, although some of those wheels are actually going to cost you more than the hub itself. If you're planning to buy the hub with shifters and a steering wheel, Simagic does have some package deals. It'll usually save you about 20 bucks on the whole thing. So for my purposes, they sent me the Neo X Hub, they sent me the dual paddle shifters, and I already had this flat bottom Simagic wheel with the red stitching. I figured it was a perfect combo, perfect match. Totally, you're looking at under $300 for that combo, and if you want to add a Maglink connector, you're looking at another $20 there. So when it comes to the assembly, I actually did a full assembly video. So if you want to check that out, I have a link in the description here, and we go into a little bit more detail about what it does take to put this together. But here is a quick rundown of everything it took to get this out on track, starting off with the shifters and removing those back covers on the hub, which are secured with 2 screws each. Super easy to remove. Once those are off, you'll need to figure out which shifter is which. Pro tip, the magnetic shifters go towards the top. Each shifter has a small, delicate plug that connects to the hub, so take your time here to avoid damaging the connection. Once plugged in, the shifter fits snugly onto the back of the hub. Just be careful not to pinch that wire, and then use the same 2 screws to lock them in place. Repeat the process on the other side. With the shifters installed, I moved on to the steering wheel rim. I started by removing that sticker, and then using the 6 supplied bolts, I securely attached the wheel to the hub. I will mention, when checking another brand wheel rim, double check the drawing of this hub to make sure any third party will clear the buttons and other features. Next, it was time to customize the paddles. I chose the small aluminum paddles for the upper shifters and added the included extensions to match the width of my wheel. For the lower paddles, I couldn't resist going with the carbon fiber paddles. They just looked too cool to pass up. With everything assembled, it was finally time to mount this beauty on my rig. However, when I first attached the rim to my Simagic Alpha base, it wasn't recognized right away. But no worries, just hold down the top 2 buttons for about 5 seconds and the hub comes to life. I did have to run a firmware update before getting started, which required removing the hub from the base, plugging it into the computer via the supplied USB cord, letting it run that update, and then reinstalling it on the base. It was pretty straightforward and nothing too complicated. Let's hit the track with the Simagic Neo X Hub, along with the wheel and shifters and all that we have going on here. And I am going to focus all of my energy on the wheel hub for the main part. I mean, it was on me to source the wheel rim. It's certainly not a review of the Alpha or the Alpha Ultimate bases. We're really focusing on the Neo X Hub and what makes it unique or special. So let's start with some of the visuals. At the top, we have this rev stripe that is really cool. The lights are built into a distinct parallelogram shape that really pops against that dark bezel. Not only are the lights visually striking, but they're also highly customizable. Using the Simagic Sim Manager software, you can adjust the colors, brightness, and even the direction of the light patterns. Whether you want lights to flow left to right, center out, or any other style, the software makes it super intuitive. Next up are the buttons, all 8 of them, grouped in pairs at the 4 corners of the hub. And I know when they're plain white, they look kind of ordinary, but I'll tell you what, with the stickers on them, with the right colors selected, they really come to life. I absolutely love the buttons on the Neo X. They're perfectly sized, semi-large, but not oversized, and incredibly tactile. The snappy action and short throw make it clear when you've hit them, with an audible and physical click that's satisfying every time. Plus, you've got the slight shielding around each button, which helps avoid accidental pressure, while giving you tactile guidance for finding them without looking. With that said, button placement was a bit of a trade-off. I mean, I can access these top 2 really easily, but the bottom 2, I definitely have to pivot my hand to actually use them. On the bright side, quite literally, the button's colors and brightness can be customized directly in the SimPro Manager software, and they can even serve as telemetry indicators. For example, the top buttons can flash when the pit limiter is engaged, or display alerts for ABS, traction control, or DRS. Moving on to the encoders, we've got these 2 front ones at the bottom. They both have these cool backlit rings on them. And just like the buttons, we can control the color, the brightness, and they can even have telemetry flashing as well. The encoders themselves feel solid with good resistance between detents to prevent accidental inputs. The vertical encoders, covered with aluminum caps, have a nice tactile feel, but can be a bit trickier to operate with gloves on due to their placement. Finally, we got these 2 7-way mini joysticks at the top, which it's cool. I can reach them with my hands while in that 9 and 3 position, but like mini joysticks, they can be a little finicky on the fly, so I limit their function while driving, but they can be great for in-game menus where you can map functions like left, right, up, down, push in for enter. During racing, I use them sparingly, but they do have a solid, precise feel, especially when twisting or pressing down, which can kind of be done without accidentally triggering another action. While the Neo X might seem light on buttons by modern standards, these 7-way controls ensure you'll have more than enough inputs for most racing scenarios. We've covered everything on the front side of the Neo X Hub, so let's virtually flip it over and check out the back side and talk about some of those features, starting with the paddle shifters. And they're designed so nicely. They're so well integrated into the Neo X Hub, it's almost like they were made for it. The aluminum framing and levers feel incredibly sturdy and well integrated. The magnetic release on the upper paddles provide a satisfying snap with a short throw, ending with a cushioned stop. No metal-on-metal clank here. The lower levels are impressively smooth, offering resistance against a medium-strength spring. They actually have more travel than most lower paddles that I've tested, which will definitely appeal to users who need precise movements, like for a handbrake. This makes the Neo X an excellent option for those looking for hand-only control setup. I also really appreciate the ability to customize the paddle ends. I chose mine with comfort and functionality in mind, and I'm happy to say it paid off on both fronts. Since the wheel rim choice is on you, I didn't go into detail or really review this wheel rim, but I did want to talk about the overall strength of the Simagic Neo X Hub, because that is an important factor. So starting off with the quick release itself, that NRG style 10 bearing quick release, it's incredibly easy to use and it locks in rock solid. This then connects seamlessly into the Neo X Hub, and I'm happy to report there's absolutely zero flex there. I mean, when flexing the wheel left and right, there's like no movement whatsoever. It's very impressive how strong it is. However, when I pushed and pulled on the top, there was a little give, but you can tell it was all in the steering wheel itself, not the hub. The hub is built strong, and you can really feel that quality in its construction. After finishing up on the track with the Neo X Hub, I want to touch on one of its unique features, the Maglink compatibility. The new Neo X Hub allows me to use this wheel on any wheelbase with a corresponding quick release, which is a huge plus for flexibility. When using Maglink, the wheel is plugged directly into the computer via the Maglink cable. Installing the Maglink is straightforward. First, remove the back main plate with the quick release by taking out the screws and unplugging the two connections from the board as you go. Next, swap the back plate from the quick release for the Maglink version onto the quick release, and then you will plug back into the board as you put the Maglink version back onto the back of the Neo and bolt it on down. Once everything is tightened down, you then attach the Maglink cable to the wheel and then plug it directly into the computer. Using the Neo X Hub in Maglink form works great. It's as simple as that. Everything we've discussed about the Neo X still applies. The performance and features remain consistent. The key difference is that I can now use the wheel on my Moza base or any other base equipped with an NRG quick release. The Maglink connection itself is rock solid, and I really appreciate the durability of a magnetically connected plug, unlike fixed plugs on most other wheels, which can wear out over time and develop poor connections. This magnetic setup feels much more reliable. Sure, going with Maglink removes the sleek cleanliness of a wireless setup, but it more than makes up for it with its accessibility. For a small cost, it opens the door to compatibility with a range of systems, which is a big win for versatility. At this point, we've covered all the ins and outs of the Simagic Neo X Hub, but to make things perfectly clear, let's break it down with the good, the not so good, and the bottom line, starting off with the good, and that being great for the money. Works with SimHub. Endless wheel rim options. Cool rev stripe. Backlit buttons and encoders. No flex, rigid. Great button action. Works for all, Maglink. Paddle shifter shape and size options. And now on to the not so good. Some of the buttons are pretty far from your hands. Not a ton of buttons. Front encoders plastic capped. And now on to the bottom line. The Simagic Neo X Hub exceeded my expectations in every way. It's affordable, it's packed with high-end features that will satisfy even seasoned sim racers. It looks great, and it's highly customable. And most importantly, it's incredibly strong. But what really separates this from a lot of options out there in the sim racing world is its versatility. The ability to just put a round wheel, a flat bottom wheel, a large wheel, a small wheel, a formula style wheel. The options are endless, and it means that it really means people on a tight budget can just keep changing out their wheel as they need without having to start over from scratch. For its price, it's really hard to find a better setup in that medium to high-end world of sim racing, and while people have super rigs, they might find it a little bit basic, but in the end, the Neo X Hub with the right wheel, with the paddle shifters, gives you everything that you really need when it comes down to it in sim racing. Now, the paddle shifters are really nicely done, and the additional levers are impressive, especially for rally drivers. The extended travel on these levers just makes it a great option for those who are using hand controls. You have a lot of room for travel, making it easy to use for like a throttle or a brake and get good modulation and really good, like I said, for rally drivers and using it as a handbrake. And finally, with that Maglink connectivity, it's a great second wheel option for people with other direct drive wheelbases. I mean, maybe you spent over $1,000 on a formula wheel with a fancy dash, and you're just looking for a wheel to do some oval racing or rally racing. Well, at $300, this isn't breaking the bank, and it's going to be a really good option for that second wheel. It's a perfect balance between performance, versatility, and cost. So I hope you've enjoyed our review of the Simagic Neo X Hub. I've really enjoyed using it. If you did enjoy it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel so you can find out when our next video comes out. And check out our other videos on the Neo X, including that unboxing where we have a little bit more detail on the putting it together process and all of that, as well as some of our driving test videos that we did for this particular combination. Thank you for watching. This is the Simpit. I'm Sean Cole, and I'll see you on the track.